Okay. So hang on, bro. Hang on, bro. So like, don't rule out no shit you don't know nothing about. Do you know what it takes to go fly? I'm asking you. Do you know what it takes?
It was almost 4 years ago now, but you had sent a few guys to get on my ass, and they got me back on the right track, man. I was going through it. First, man, getting ready to graduate. Yes.
I send goons to see you. Hey, motherfucker, you better get your shit straight. Hey, as always, go check out the school's classroom. If you're looking to take your leadership or your mentorship game to the next level, come over there and check us out in school's classroom. I'm telling you, man, we doing some phenomenal stuff. We are changing people's lives every day. The problem you have is you're in engineering.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody in engineering is moving quickly, ever. You're not going to walk into work one day and they're going to be like, oh man, Andrew, you're a rock star, bro. We're going to promote you 3 ranks ahead. Nope, that ain't how engineers think. They're like, engineer is A plus B equals C, and C leads to D, and you got to go through every week. You're in a career field where fast promotion, superstar status doesn't really mean anything. You like process. A plus B equals C. You might be able to scratch your itch another way, volunteering at the local college, right? Like I don't know, like go find something to do where you're giving back to people that in need. Like, I'm gonna say it, like adopt a kid, right? Like you got big brothers and big sisters. You got a bunch of organizations where you could take one person and change their life forever. Look outside of work to find fulfillment. Okay?
Thing is, okay, so but if I want to be a pilot, that's full time. I quit my job at Lockheed.
You'll make more money pilot than you're making right now.
What if I don't make the cut? I don't know. I'm just throwing all the options out there. What does that look like?
What do you mean you don't
make? People fail, don't they? Like pilot school or not pilot school, but
Hang on, man. Hang on. Let me look around for this room. I'm just trying to figure out who you talking to. I'm just looking around, bro. I'm trying to find the guy you talking to, because you clearly ain't talking to me. We ain't had a single fail out of flight school yet.
For real? Okay.
We have 0 attrition in flight school in 25 years. 0. Okay, I'm not saying we ain't had some lumps. I'm not saying we ain't had a couple dudes that had a rough run at it. 100% graduating from flight school.
Why don't more people do it then?
Like, I'll be honest with you. In socioeconomic disadvantaged communities, one, they come with the same attitude you had. I can't do it. Right? You had already put up a bunch of barriers to why you couldn't do it. Like, I can't be a flight. Don't have the money to pay for flight school. You had all this stuff in your head. But the main reason is you don't have nobody that's been down that road and knows how to do it. All right, man. So how can I help you out, big dog?
I have a bachelor's of science in mechanical engineering.
Yep.
And I work for a big defense contractor. I chose this job over a higher paying job because, I believe in what the company's doing. I'm finding myself in a role that's leading me down a path of kind of just unfulfillment. I look at the guys who are, 2 years down the line. I know there's jobs out there that, a job at the company that would give me more purpose. Shit, how long do I got to wait? What if I don't get it? It could be years before I'm in a position where I feel like I want to do some good. But I'll be honest. I'm not that guy. I'm not the door kicker. I'm not a badass.
You got a mechanical engineering degree undergrad. What's your GPA?
3.3.
So I know you asked me about core engineering and all that stuff, but let me ask you this. Have you flown at all?
I think they're called like discovery flights.
Yeah.
I've done one of those and I loved it, but I don't have the money to get pilot training. So
okay. So hang on, bro. So like, don't rule out no shit you don't know nothing about. Do you know what it takes to go fly? I'm asking you. Do you know what it takes?
Specifically, I looked into it, like just getting a private pilot's license, but it's I don't really just have 10K to just throw into that right now.
You got kids?
No kids.
2 huge dogs. Okay, so let me ask you this, man. A private pilot's license is like $12,000.
Give or take.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't need you to get a private pilot's license until you're going in the military to fly. Does that make sense? Or, and here's my deal. We can't get you in the National Guard with no hours. Like, we got a National Guard hookup, but you got to have some hours. I would make an argument that we probably would send you. I don't see you being a United States Marine. The Marine is picking up every pilot that applies. They don't give a shit. Okay. But like, you could go be a Navy pilot. Your GPA, being Hispanic, Air Force is probably going to be a long shot. They are the biggest racist snobs in the world. Okay, just being flat out honest with you. They have some serious problems with their accessions in the flight school. And if you don't have a 3.8 mechanical engineering, they don't want to talk to you. But I would say to you, if you're not happy with what you're doing, go do something else. And that to me is somewhere that you can maximize your brain power, minimize the need for savagery, and then come out in 11 years and be making, $300,000 a year, $400,000 a year for the rest of your life, flying like my boy Jay, man. My boy Jay go to Dominican Republic in 2 seconds. come back, go to New York City, like just living a carefree lifestyle with like you had a private jet. I would encourage you to look into that. The other thing I would say is where you living?
In Fort Worth.
Okay, so you're in Fort Worth. You got any SpaceX up there? Or is that all in Houston?
SpaceX is like south, Brownsville.
Brownsville. So
Yeah.
like that's another thing, man. I feel like they on the cutting edge of everything.
Yeah.
And I gotta imagine, like if you go to work, go ahead.
Like, I know there's good shit going on here. I know there's a job, 100 yards away from me in a closed off room. Not the closed off room I'm working in. I'm basically like a glorified, admin engineer paper pusher right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is, that's entry level. I get it. It's a foot in the door. But the jobs that I want, I look at those basic requirements, and it's like, and I look at the database of employees. I pull up their resumes. They all have, flight line experience. They're in the military, or, they had highly specialized training from somewhere else. Lockheed's not putting fresh grads with the important shit because that's just a waste of their time.
They're engineers.
Yeah, I get put in a spot wherever they need me, where fits their need, which is great. I get it. I'm happy to be there. I'm grateful to be there. It doesn't really help me out that it's not fulfilling for me.
Okay, so let me say this: like, if you're just going in the military to check boxes and you're gonna go back to Lockheed Martin, SpaceX, one of those, then I would say like you need to go look at the Army, right? You go to Corps Engineers. The thing is, I'm pretty sure you can get Corps of Engineers, National Guard. So I've got a Corps Engineers, National Guard guy on my phone right now. That might be something you look into, because Lockheed Martin won't fire you if you go to do National Guard stuff.
I was looking at reserve as well.
Yeah, I just think
Army Reserve.
I don't think it's going to give you the bump that you need at Lockheed Martin to make you happy. Like, in my opinion, like, you got a mechanical engineering degree, you got a year at Lockheed Martin. Like, you go fly in the military for, Navy for 11 years. I think the Army commitment is 7 years. Like, you could go fly helos in the Army. It doesn't translate to civilian aviation, but you can do a program when you get out, and it's like a 4-year program to make the transition to civilian aviation. But you got to ask yourself, kind of like, what are you gonna do? Yeah. So like I tell people, you want to go scratch an itch, you want to be Billy Badass, go to free fall school, right? Go learn how to parachute. Like shit. Like, a lot of dudes in parachuting are very successful because it's kind of an expensive sport. And you sit there, you talking to the COO of Deloitte and Touche, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're like, damn, man, I'm CEO on the weekends, I do my thing. I don't want you to think that because you're at your job, it has to dictate how happy you are. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Makes sense.
Okay. And I know you asked me about the Corps Engineers, correct?
I was looking at, reserving and going to OCS, Intel, or cyber.
Okay.
Or, like you said, Corps Engineers. I think Intel I like the idea of Intel.
It's just hard. Like, anytime you're trying to go Intel, cyber, it's hard because you don't have no cyber certificates, correct?
No.
But if I was you, I'd go fly planes.
Fly planes for the Navy?
I might try to go fly planes for the Air Force first, but you got to get a private pilot's license. The Navy and the Marine Corps, they ain't going to require nothing from you. They don't care. Okay. Like, Hispanic dude can show up to both of those organizations, you'll be fine. I don't think you'll fit in well with the Marine Corps. Having just had a kid crash out of the Marine Corps, you're not going to go in the Marine Corps and do well. So I don't recommend that to you at all.
Okay.
But if you want to go fly in the Navy, I mean, I got a bunch of dudes.
That's going to be full time, right? And that minimum commitment is, you said 11 years?
11 years.
Okay.
But I mean, here's what I'm going to tell you. I try to explain this to people. You're going to be in training for 3 of those years. So now you're down to 8. You're a junior officer in a squadron. All you're doing is flying planes. You just learn how to fly. Okay. That's probably 3 years. You're going to go to another command, another 3 years. You're going to fly for another 3 years. You're going to have 2 years. You can fly for another 2 years. You can get out. It's a lot shorter than everybody wants to think about. But I tell everybody, man, when you get out and you working 15 days a month for the rest of your life, making $375,000 a year, or you decide to go to China and make $800,000 on a 9-month contract, 6-month contract for like $600,000, you tell me, was it worth spending that time in the military flying? You know what I mean? So here's what I'm going to say. You're minority, you got engineering degree, you got good GPA. Anything else we try to do, we're missing on about 50% of your capacity. You know what I mean? Like, if I send you to Corps Engineers, you're going to get your civil engineering degree. You're going to do all that stuff. That track to me would be one that I'd be like, all right, that's as good as going to fly in the military.
Gotcha. You see, like, you didn't know me. If I didn't say anything, you see my profile. You're like, okay, best case scenario, best fit for this guy. If he flies planes, he'll be fine.
Yeah, because you got a laid back personality. If you were a killer, like, if you like, oh yeah, I got 3-3, like, then I would send you to the Marine Corps because you would be fine. Yeah. But the last dude, you go watch the video of the dude that quit the Marine Corps, and you'll see, right? Like I told him not to go in the Marine Corps. I told him you're not gonna make it. Like it's not your spot, you know. So
I wish I were that dude, but I'm not. I know I'm not a
it don't
hardcore
matter.
badass dude.
But it don't matter, Andrew. You ain't got to be that dude. You got a 3.3 in mechanical engineering. Like you already did the heavy lifting. You know, as long as you understand when you go to flight school, you got to study your butt off. Like studying is the number one thing. I love
school. That shit's fun to me.
So then let's go. You know, like
how does that work for? Okay, so 3 years of training. Is my wife here? Does she get to be at the base?
She come with you. Yeah, she'll come with you. She OCS after OCS, she there with you. You OCS. Then you're gonna go to flight school, and then she's gonna show up right there.
All right, cool. That's fine. Yeah. So like OCS is like in what, Norfolk or some shit?
I think
somewhere,
it's Newport, Rhode Island.
Rhode Island, yeah, somewhere northeast.
Yeah.
Are
your eyes good?
Yeah, perfect. 2020. The training over there, and then after that, training.
Pensacola for 9 to 15 months. You go to one of the outlying bases. Like, so there's a couple bases around Pensacola. You can end up in Kingsville, Texas. I got 2 F-35 pilots down there. You know, we're not playing games over here, Andrew. You got a 3.3. We're gonna tell you exactly what you need to do. We're gonna tell you how to do it. We're gonna tell you where to do it, and you're gonna show up. You're gonna do exactly what we tell you, and you're gonna have the same success that everybody else had, laying tracks.
Yeah. All right. You mentioned try out the Air Force before going to the Navy. What does that look like?
I just think you got to. So here's the deal. In the Air Force, you're gonna have to take the AFOQT, whatever the Aviation Officer's Test is, right? If you crush it and score like 95, so as an engineer, they want you to have an 8. All right, but I tell everybody we always shooting for 90s on the test. If you go in there and crush it and get a 95, Aaron, the kid's flying in the Air Force, got a 99 on it. That's how a 34-year-old gets to go to the National Guard and fly C-17s. Like he crushed everything. But yeah, like it might be a situation where you're able to figure out, and we got some people, like I'm not saying you're going to figure it out. We're going to help you figure it out, but it's a situation where you go take the AFLQT and you do well. Now we make some phone calls and we put you on the phone with some people, and now all of a sudden you're able to get in the Air Force. The reason we like the Air Force is, you know, it's got 17,000 pilots and most of their aircraft are fixed wing multi-engine.
And that's what transfers to the civilian world best.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So, you know, the Navy, you got probably a 70% chance you fly in helicopter in the Navy. Now, it's not a big deal. Like I got Ricky Ricardo went last 2 years. You're going to start doing flight school stuff, CFI stuff. You'll do CFI stuff when you come out. There's a bunch of programs now. American has one. Helicopters, it's like whatever, rotary to fixed wing transition. You'll fly regionals for 2 years and then you'll go fly big. So you have like another 2 years, but you'll start working on it the last 2-3 years that you're in the Navy. And then that way, when you come out, you'll go right into regionals. You'll start flying regionals the last year you're in the Navy. You'll get your hours up. You'll come out, you'll be in big boys. Just a little bit more work.
Yeah. Fixed wing would definitely be preference, and I would lean more towards transport, C-130s, C-17s.
Which is why the Air Force, you got to go in the Air Force.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the whole thing. Our kid ain't gonna be ahead of you, because once our kid gets to the unit, it's over. It's over. Because now I got to do it on the inside. So now I get now we only send good people. Like that's the trade-off. We only send rock stars, and so he's already got a kid coming in with him, and they're gonna be a C-17s National Guard squadron. That's the best situation in the world. You do 3 years around the clock flying, and then they're gonna let you go work for the airlines 50% of the time.
Yeah, so nice.
Yeah, that's about as good as it gets. It's just really hard to get, man. Like we spent 5 years trying to crack the code.
And training for how long are you on the hook for in the Air Force training? And then
11 years.
11 years.
Well, so here's the deal. National Guard is still 11 years, but they're going to fly you around the clock, and then you're going to do National Guard time. So it's really more than that. It's really like, 15 years in the National Guard, but it's not full time. Like they expect you to be flying for the airline. And obviously, if we have a war going on or something, you're going to get recalled. You're going to go fly a lot, but you can't worry about it. And you're going to get paid well. Like pilot pay is legitimate. You know, it's kind of like Navy SEAL pay. You're going to get a lot of extra money, and it's good.
You mentioned getting a private pilot's license at some point. At what point do you do that?
At the point where you make a decision to say, hey, I'm going to go in the military. So if you decide, like if you go take the AFQT and you crush it and you're like, all right, I'm going in, like I'm going to tell you right now, you got to have some flight hours to go get a pilot spot in the Air Force. Like very rare they're going to take a dude with no time unless he got like a 3.9 GPA. So you'll go bang it out. Datran has 170 hours or whatever he got right now. He started flying in December. Now, dude's an animal. He got a great job. He got a ton of resources. So he literally just been crushing the airplane since last December. So like I don't even think that's that big a deal. Getting your private pilot's license isn't that big. Like you just go do it.
That sounds fun, actually. It sounds like more fun than work.
Yeah, and the whole idea, Andrew, is the benefit is learning how to fly, but the real benefit is learning all the procedures and everything else, right? Like how to check in with ATC, how to leave the runway, how to leave the ramp, how to taxi for takeoff, right? Talking on the radio, all that stuff that all the new guys are struggling with, you know? And then the other big one is just how to land a plane. Aaron's up there crushing landings and they're like, where'd you learn to fly? He's like, oh man, nah. But he got like 600 hours, you know? And the Hispanic dudes don't normally have 600 hours. They don't roll in like
that. Yeah, that's right. Nope.
So
yeah.
What else you got on your list?
Pretty good big.
What else you got on your list, brother? I know you got a list in front of you. What else you got? Engineer dude.
I do have a list. You got me. Like I said, I was considering Army or Air Force. If I were to do Army, Intel, Cyber, Engineer, Air Force, kind of same thing. Either Intel, Cyber, Pilot. Linguist is pretty cool. I speak fluent German, so I thought maybe, hey, that might leverage something overseas, being with the Army because they have a big presence over there.
You know how many Germans we got speaking German?
A lot of Germans.
It's like Spanish. Oh, I speak Spanish.
Yeah, not that useful.
That and a
especially
wooden nickel.
Especially being in the South.
Yeah,
so you ain't something special.
If you speak Mandarin Chinese or Arabic, but I would even say now, well, Russian ain't even good. Like we got so many Russian speakers in America. It's the same thing, you know, and they don't like America don't trust no Russians. So I don't know, bro. I don't know if the language component pulls the way they did 15 years ago.
Makes sense. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What else you got?
If you were going to recommend, the OCS route, what would that look like? But since we're not talking about that,
what, going to OCS?
Yeah.
No, you got to go to OCS to do all these jobs. That's a given. Though. Oh, you could go Army OCS and Engineering Corps. I will say this. I think flying is 1A, and I think going Corps Engineers is 2B or 2A, right? Like you're not losing in either one of those. I got a buddy that did Civil Engineering, Corps Engineers, and from the Navy. He's making $600,000 a year right now working for DISC, okay? Did 20-year career in the Navy, got up to the rank of 06, and now he got out. He manages major projects for Disney. He's crushing it. So there's always going to be avenues to come out of the military as an officer, and you have an engineering degree.
Even reservist, like being a reservist, does that hold the same weight as active duty or no?
I'm going to say it's going to be really hard to get what you want. Really hard to get what you want. Because you got to realize, I tried to explain to somebody the other day, everybody that's getting the jobs that you want is already at the unit that you want to get the job. So they got some whiz-bang kid that's getting a master's degree or an undergrad in mechanical engineering. He gets his degree and they're like, all right, we'll take you as an engineer now.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, hire from within.
And especially for cyber and those, so everybody wants cyber in the military because they go get top secret and then they can come out and make hella money, right? And so the Marine Corps has a shortage, but you can't go play in the Marine Corps. Does that make sense?
No, it does, yeah. And that's what that's kind of what I was also looking at it for, getting intel or getting cyber, getting top secret. That'll help me out here as well.
Yeah, I just think that's hard.
Any of the defense contractors.
That's a hard thing to do. That's a hard thing. Now, I'll tell you where it's easier. At 03, making a transition into there. So you already got 3 or 4 years in the Army. Maybe you do, I don't know, you do some other job. And then you put a package in to transition into that. And guys are successful doing it that way.
Yeah, I just don't want to make any mistakes, like career-wise. I don't want to shoot myself in the foot doing something dumb where,
Are you plan on enlisting? You going to enlist?
Hell no. No way I'm listening.
Then you got 2 feet, bro. You're all right. You ain't going to shoot yourself in the foot. As long as you listen. You don't listen, can't help it, homeboy. But if you listen, you ain't got nothing to worry about.
Yeah, it's difficult, talking about it with friends and family because they're like, man, you work at a great company. You graduated, you got a good job, good degree. Just, ride it out and put in your time.
Do your parents have degrees, Andrew? Okay, both your parents got degrees. So one of the things that's crazy coming out of socioeconomic, I don't know what kind of house you came out of, but I'm just going to tell you this. It's hard to blaze a path when nobody you've been around has ever been on that path. It's almost impossible.
There's no military.
It's almost impossible.
Background.
So like you trying to go do big things. Like, I got some big governmental contractor dudes that are killing it, but it's hard, right? Like I'm going through it, man. This year been a rough year on me. First world problems. Okay. I had some tax problems. They were massive. And I'm calling the one dude I know. Well, that's not true. I called 3 dudes that I know that have, tax problems. And I got 3 different answers. And I went with the best answer and it ended up being the wrong answer. So I had to change CPAs after tax filing. And then I had, but now here I am. I'm happy. I secured my taxes are done. I got really lucky. And I learned a very valuable lesson, man, like a very valuable lesson. But my wife, I was crying in May over it, man. Like I was bawling Cause I'm sitting here like, oh my God, I screwed my family. My wife was like, look, man, we the only two people in our family that's been sitting where we're sitting. Like we're gonna take some lumps. And I'm like, nah, me, I'm all about mentorship. I'm like, I'm not taking no lumps. I remember I told her, I said, I'm not taking no lumps. I don't care if I'm crying right now. I'll figure it out. I'm not taking no lumps. And then I called a couple crazy people and they gave me and I ended up calling a guy that I've known for 4 or 5 years. He's like, send it over to me. I got you. So, like that's just part of the process of going places where no one in your family has ever been. Like look at Donald Trump. I use him as an example. My man built a skyscraper when he was 13 years old. His dad built buildings in New York. His dad made him a project manager when he was 13 years old. He built a skyscraper in New York City. That dude started with not even on home plate. He didn't even start on home plate. He started with the World Series ring on his finger. Okay. And so just understand this, like you came to the right place because we ain't gonna give you no BS. And if I don't know, which I know a whole bunch, if I don't know, I'm gonna do what I just did. Like I'm gonna put you on the phone with Chris, right? Go take another fan flight, see if like, oh yeah, this is it. The pilot shit's easy. We got 250 people in front of you that have done it. You just get in line, do what we tell you to do. It's easy. Going to be in the Civil Corps engineers, I got one dude, and he's not on our team of mentors. So the Chris that I gave you, he'll help you out. And if he can't help you out, we'll start making some phone call,
That's right, man. Well, I appreciate all that stuff. That's, like I said, you hit the nail on the head. It's hard to do stuff, make the decisions for yourself and for your family. I mean, if I didn't have a wife, I probably would just do it and whatever. It's my decision. I can live with mistakes. I don't care because that's something I wanted to do. But you know what it's like making decisions and it affects other people. So you want to make sure that you don't make the bad decision.
What does your wife do?
She works remotely, so she can go anywhere. She's down to go anywhere.
Man, that's my wife worked remotely too. It's the best job in the world. Like, we've moved 7 times. She tell him on Friday, hey, I'm moving. And then she come back up online on Monday, like, oh, where you live now? San Antonio, Texas. So
yeah. Our dogs are the kids. We pick up and go. I mean, we left Houston, come here for my job. And it's just like, all right. It's
How old are you?
25. I'll be 25 next month.
Okay. You haven't bought a house yet?
We live in an apartment.
No, we don't live in apartments.
Okay.
We don't live in apartments.
No, I don't have a house.
No. Have you read Rich Dad Poor Dad?
Heard about it, never read it.
Okay. So you taking notes right now? Okay. Rich Dad Poor Dad, Richard Kiyosaki, write it down. Overachievement by John Elliott, and then Relentless by Tim Grover. Read a chapter a day in Relentless. Get them books read. Hey, listen, man, we don't rent houses, bro. Got to buy a house, brother. Got to buy a house. I tell people, worst decision I made was I sold my first house. I'd be up $500,000 more, and I'd be making $3,000 a month extra.
How do we buy a house, though, if we don't know where the hell we're going to end up?
You don't fucking worry about that. I got a house in Maryland. I got a house in Washington State. I got a house in Virginia. I got 6 houses here. Don't worry about that. That's part of growing up, okay? And now, if you decide to go in the military in the next 2 months and you like, this is what the path I'm gonna go down, I might let you stay in that apartment, but you ain't gonna be in that apartment next year this time, not making $80,000. But I know I'll put you on gas. You ain't gotta worry about the shit making you uncomfortable. You're an engineer. That's why I told you go read them books and then we'll have another conversation about it.
All right, I can do that.
Yeah. We don't rent apartments, brother. We don't fucking rent.
Sounds good enough. I can follow clear instructions.
So. Oh, you're good, brother. It's all good. I just, like you come over here, a lot of people think you're going to get this, but like I told you, like you talking to a dude, like I got, I don't know, 35 millionaires under me, every one of them the same way, right? Like, hey, here's the format. Like I'm trying to buy a business right now. Start buying businesses. We may have a different conversation, right? Like, hey, we're going to buy a business, but I know it takes capital to buy a business. It don't take no capital to buy a house, especially the first time home buyer, be your first house. You do it this way, even if you don't go in the military for a year from now, you're still only 25. When you go in the military, you're going to get a VA loan. That makes it even easier. So then you can buy another house. Pretty soon you got 2 or 3 houses and you're like, damn, Jake. I'm like, yeah, that's how this shit works. I mean, one of my young dudes he ain't young. He like 40, but he got 27 houses right now. So, yeah, makes sense.